So chapter 10 is what you want to highlight. You can see the 4 sections there, or more than 4 sections, but I would say the first 4 sections are the key part there if you want to limit your reading even more. Then there is chapter 14, the division of labor, which is specifically where Marx talks about what we just did with Smith. And then chapter 15, machinery and modern industry. So I'm going to touch upon these chapters, but again, make sure that you read chapter 10 as well. The other part I'll touch upon is chapter 1.4, the fetishism of commodities, which is probably the most famous part of the text. So just skipping through things here, right? So you see I've given some cheat sheet type things here, just taking stuff from sort of Wikipedia that was very well expressed and just collapsed it into the text. So in the prefaces, there's a couple prefaces. The key thing that's going on here is he's just trying to explain how difficult it is to really to explore capitalism as a system that especially with people like Locke and Smith, who've given, in his estimation, sort of a sugarcoating, a whitewashing to it, right? So it's very hard to do, and so he talks about his system and his method here, his dialectic system, his idea of historical materialism, right? So good stuff here, and it's probably the most accessible stuff in the text because the text is very, very difficult to read. Okay, so I've given a lot of extensive notes on this text. Locke and Smith are pretty straightforward, especially Smith, very readable. Marx is definitely a little bit on the turgid side. So lots of notes here provided for you, okay, and highlighting of certain quotations. So this goes on throughout the prefaces, and then you get to, we're still in the prefaces here. He wrote a lot of prefaces, him and Engels, okay, and then we get to chapter 1 eventually, right? And he starts with commodities, okay, so it's very interesting where he starts, right? He starts with the idea of commodities, which is the hardest thing to understand, he claims, about capitalism. He doesn't start with labor, doesn't start with the division of labor, where Locke and Smith started. He started with the idea of commodities, okay?